A Visit from St. Nicholas by Janet Payne. Sound effects are by Richard Payne.
A Visit from St. Nicholas. The annual visit of St. Nicholas, better known as Santa Claus, is the occasion of much excitement among our boys and girls. Clement C. Moore's poem is a great favorite with our children, for it gives such a vivid description of the event. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all, as dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
This concludes this part of the program.
Hey, Grandma, tell when that, when those guys came through the village, when that bandit came through the village and he's gonna, he's gonna rob everybody and shoot everybody, but he didn't.
Oh, no.
Custer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Custer?
Oh, that was up in the States. That was up in Kansas.
Yeah, tell me about that. Go ahead, Grandma. Grandma.
I don't even forget how to start.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Grandma was a little girl then. I guess I was I must have been about 6 years old when that happened. And I was asleep the night they came. But Quantrill had come through and spotted all the places where he was going to kill the men, And, but our folks thought he was, a Northern soldier. So they took him in, and kept him all night, gave him his dinner, got up the next morning and gave him his breakfast. And Grandma had just churned a lovely churn of butter and nice buttermilk, and he was so fond of it. So she filled his canteen with buttermilk for him to take on his trip that day, He was on his way to see his folks, he told us, but he wasn't. Well, then they got up a committee to watch for him to come back to destroy the city.
But they didn't know that was him when he went first through.
No. And so he didn't come back, and he didn't come back, so finally the committee made up their mind that they weren't going to come at all, so they just went off the job, So that was just what he wanted them to do. Then one night, way along in the night, here comes somebody up to our door and rapped with the butt of his gun on the door. And Uncle was sick in bed. And Aunt got up and she says, "Who's there?" And Quantrill says, he says, that's all right. It don't make any difference who's here. You open that door. She says, I want the man in the house. And she says, well, just wait a minute. So she stepped back and she got a shawl and threw around her shoulders. Then she got Uncle up and she threw a bathrobe around him and took him to the door. And Quantrill looked at him and he said, huh, we don't want this man. He says, this is that old Quaker. March on. So his men went on and Uncle wasn't shot. But he went up to the next corner and he took out 3 men right up there on that one corner and killed them all 3. And they went on, and the next morning we'd see the flames and smoke. You know, they're burning Lawrence, Kansas.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they burnt the city down.
What year was that about?
Oh, honey, I couldn't tell you
Was
the
that
year.
one that was Bloody Kansas or something?
But you were about 6. That
About
must have been about...
1870 or something like that.
Was that 1870?
The war ended in 1862, and this was after the war had ended.
If you were 6, it'd be about 1869 then, wasn't
I expect it was. I have an idea.
1869?
It's in history about when Quantrill come through and burned the whole...
What was he, a Confederate?
No, yes. Yes, he was Southern. And you know the reason why? We found out why he come through and did all that awful work. Because the Northern soldiers, when they went down south, you know, to fight, they didn't do a thing, only took all of his father's horses and everything that they get their hands on, you know, that they could use, and went off with it. And it made Quantrill mad, and he said he'd get even with him, and that's why he did it.
Well, was he a carpetbagger or one of those? Is that what he was? Dad?
No, he was
Well, that wouldn't be the same thing. He came up north. Kansas was a northern state.
yeah.
Oh.
We called them bushwhackers. In those days, they were called bushwhackers
Oh.
because they were always
Outlaw.
pillaging and doing all the mischief they could. But I'll tell you the funniest thing, Dick, that happened during the war. This aunt and uncle of mine, you know, that raised me, well, she had a cousin who was a captain in the army. And he come through with a bunch of soldiers on march to go to someplace. You know how the soldiers march around different places. And our folks were in church. It happened on Thursday, and they were in church and didn't know anything about what's going on. Well, sir, they come through and they went in, and Grandma Nippy had just left a fresh baking of bread spread on the table. And there was the churn with all the milk and the fresh butter sitting there. And they had all sorts of nice hams and meat and everything that they had in the smokehouse. And I want to tell you, those soldiers come in, they eat up everything they get their hands on. And they went to the smokehouse and they got out all the hams and side meat and took it with them. And, yes. And mind you, this cousin now of Grandma Nippy's, he didn't know it because he had dropped back, and he was on a drunk himself. He said he was just in bed sleeping off a drunk, and so he didn't know anything about it. But when he did come, he come past to see Grandma Nippy, just to see her, you know, and they told him all about the soldiers, and laughed and cut up about it. They didn't care, but it made him mad. And he said he'd sure punish those every last one of them. He'd punish them for it. So he did. He made them march 20 miles, right straight through 20 miles without a drop of water or a taste of food of any kind. And that's the way he put. And Grandma Nippy was so sorry. And after everything's all over with, he come back then.
Was that township control?
Yeah, no, this was a cousin of hers. Yes, Grandma Nippy's cousin.
A Confederate?
Yeah, no, he's Northern.
Oh.
It was Northern soldiers that did this.
Well, let's see.
Grandma Nippy told them why they could have had twice as much as she had there. If she'd had it, she'd been glad for them to have it. Because she just felt sorry for them. So he told her what he did. Oh, she just talked to him. She scolded him. She told him why he had no business to do that. She was so put out with him for punishing him, just 'cause they got something to eat. Oh, Every bit of bread is gone, butter's all gone, everything's cleaned out. The rest of the smokehouse hams are all gone, side meat is all gone.
Bacon? Is bacon side meat?
Bacon, Oh, they just laughed and laughed about that. But they were just welcome to it. And they would have treated the South just like they did the North. It wouldn't have made any difference. They were Quakers, they didn't believe
Well,
in
did they
fighting.
take it? I mean, the soldiers took it. They just
They
stole
took it with
didn't
them. I bet they
they? I mean, but they just stole it, didn't they?
Uh-huh, yeah, yes, they stole it. That's the way the soldiers existed almost, all through the war. It was just wherever they could pick up, they robbed the chicken
They call it
houses.
stealing, they call it foraging, Dickie.
Yes, foraging.
That's the way
And they'd go into the
that's
chicken
the way Irish
houses.
live. They live on the country. If they go through, they just
Well, that's
sip it of
the
everything.
people in China. They're scared of the soldiers of China because
Sure.
I mean, they go in when the soldiers come to town. Everybody gets so scared. They're their own soldiers, but they get scared because they take
And
all
you know,
the stuff.
Dick, you know what they do? You know, they'd go into the cornfield when it was the right time of the season, you know, when the corn was ready for roasting ears. They'd go into the cornfields and just strip it for the corn, you know, corn on cob.
You know? Well, go ahead.
That's all right. I see.
Well, you know, Schultz has got a great big bag full of popcorn ears.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The famous signature, My Dear, brings to a close our portion of the NBC Coast to Coast Dancing Party.
Again sometime, don't get
Okay.
that wiped off.
Oh,
I don't think our voices sound quite like us, although once in a while they do.
Mason sounded more natural, I think, than mine.
Yeah,
Well, the other way. I thought you were sounding more natural than mine.
I don't think I...
See, when you talk into it, when you talk loud, it makes it like that. Only you're not supposed to talk loud so that the light lights up loud, bright, because it wrecks the wire. Now you say
Also, when
something.
the light lights up, well, then it's talking too loud.
Yeah. Well, no, you're just. See, now, that's too loud. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to hold it away.
How do you have to get it? God, if you talk
Just
right
so
into the
it's
cool
barely
things.
Recording all the time.
Just so it's barely.
You want it just so it's barely lit?
Yeah, that's too bright.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on till ring, making spirits rise. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh.
Get their water and feed and everything without them having to bother to look at them. And just I went across that creek. Well, I guess it got well started in.
Mm-hmm.
Those
How
hogs,
wide was it?
the hogs went boo, just like that. My pony jumped like that and set me down there. I was sitting down there in the water, in the creek. Oh, dear, that was a mess.
How far was it to the house?
Oh, it was about a half a mile.
Did you have to walk?
And I had to
all
walk,
that way?
and she dashed off. The pony dashed on home, went home.
Well,
and
what
left
an unfaithful animal.
So, after standing there watching for me, and finally she saw me coming away down the road, all wet. My hair was just as...
Was it muddy?
Yes.
Hey,
So she had to give me a bath and wash my head, and oh, such a time she had getting me put in shape again.
well, Grandma, well, how come the pasture was so far off? I thought it'd be right next to your house.
Oh, no. No, he owned 160 acres there at the house. That was home.
Mm-hmm.
And then way over in the next section of land, he bought 80 acres with a creek of water running through for cattle to put his, for pasturage. So he kept his cattle and horses when they went working over there. And we had to go we had to go half a mile north and then turn and go a half a mile west. Half a mile. We went a half a mile north, and then the rest of the way was the long road. See, it was 2 miles altogether, about a mile and a half farther we had to go. And we'd put the cattle into the pasture and then put up the gate, shut the gate so they couldn't get out. And then we'd come back home.
How many cows?
10.
10? Milk cows? Any?
We were on a ranch, you see, we're on a big farm.
What kind of flowers, what kind of crops did you raise?
Oh, everything, corn, wheat, oats, barley, and he had a great kind of lovely hogs, and then of course the cattle and horses. Of course, he hired men all through the work season to do his plowing and plant the grain, and then harvest it.
Well, did your mom bake? Did your aunt? Was it your aunt?
Yeah, aunt and uncle.
Did she bake you a lot of stuff?
Oh yes, she had to do the cooking. Yes.
Did you have good food?
Oh, I'd say we did. Wonderful food.
What did you have for Christmas?
Oh, they were Quakers, and they didn't believe in having Christmas.
Oh, Christmas?
No, we didn't have any Christmas.
What did you do without Christmas?
One year, I heard all the other children talking about hanging up their stockings. So I just hung up my stocking too. I was going to put up my stocking. So she let me put it up. So the next morning when I got up, I run to see what had got Santa Claus and let me if it left me anything in my stocking. And lo and behold, it just had sand. She had just put sand down in my stocking. And I was so put out and so disappointed. And she laughed and she said, well, said I'd have to be a good girl if I expected to get anything better than sand in my stocking.
And you were a good girl?
She intended for me to think, of course, I've been a bad girl.
Did you hang up anymore?
No.
Never again?
No.
Oh, Grandma.
No.
You were disappointed early in life, weren't you?
I certainly was.
Oh. Well, do you like Christmas?
Oh, I sure do. I just think Christmas is wonderful.
Susie. Oh, Susie. Do you like Christmas, Susie?
Oh, yes.
Do you like Christmas?
Give me some candy.
Speak. Go on. Speak. Go on, speak. Come on, speak loud. Come on, speak.